Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Prodigy from Kilo 23. It's not every day I buy an airsoft gun, especially a new one. So, with tax returns and everything coming right around now, I figure I'd have a little bit of spending money, rest goes in savings, and I can have a little bit of fun. Especially with the couple of milsims coming up, I'd love to get a new DMR for one of those. It's kind of a fun thing I like to do is get a new gun for every milsim I go to, or at least every couple. So this is an A&K SR25. Picked it up off of eBike. They run about $280 retail. If you use a coupon, you can get it for a little bit less, or check out your local retailer. I know there's a handful that carry these. They are a little bit harder to find, I've noticed. They come out of China. They're probably hit or miss as far as how many companies are able to get, or if they're able to get them at all. So this is actually, it's one of my favorite airsoft guns, at least the design. And I think A&K does a reasonably good job, but you're paying a decent price tag for what you're getting. $280, it's hit or miss, I think, whether it's worth it or not. So we're gonna sit down today and talk about this gun. So this is the most recent version of the A&K SR25. It is the long version. And when you read eBike's description, it is a little misleading and kind of ambiguous. They don't really tell you a whole lot about what it comes with. So you're kind of led to believe, okay, it may or may not come with a suppressor, battery, anything really. They don't tell you much. So I'm gonna set the record straight and tell you what it does and does not come with. The gun will come with a suppressor, big fat orange tip on it. It doesn't say in the description that it does, but it actually does, believe it or not, so that's a good thing. 470 round hot cap mag. These come with just about everything. Like I said, I'm going to a milsim event with this, so I picked up a bunch of mid caps for it. Thankfully, eBike and a number of other companies do carry mid caps. eBike carries the A&K brand one, and they seem to have quite a few in stock. So I picked up 8 of those, and I've got a full loadout now. A cleaning rod comes with every airsoft gun. You can never have enough of these. A vertical grip. For a DMR, I don't know why you'd ever use a vertical grip. It's just not what I'm into. For an assault rifle of some kind, wouldn't be a bad idea. I know a lot of people like these, but this is an SR25. It's meant to be a DMR. So I don't know why this is included, but it'll probably go to another gun. 2 rail covers. I wish they would have included 3 or 4. I like having a rail cover on the bottom as well. So if when you see in a second, I've actually got some G&G rail covers on the gun, and these are just the 2 that came with it. You get some A&K 0.2 gram BBs. They say about 300 rounds. Use at your own risk. Really not the highest quality. I'd probably use them for maybe chronoing, but otherwise just throw them in the trash. And finally, an instruction booklet. This is a highly generalized instruction booklet, covers just about every gun A&K produces. Strangely, it doesn't cover battery installation of full stock, but if you have half a brain, you know how to do that. It's actually surprisingly good English. It's well translated, and it's probably one of the better instruction booklets I've seen for an airsoft gun. Now, we've got everything it comes with out of the way. Let's go ahead and talk about the gun a little bit. The reason you didn't see this me chrono the gun beforehand, which I tend to do nowadays, it sounded like death. It really sounded awful. I mean, it was just, I didn't want to show that. It was really bad sounding. Most websites say it'll chrono between 4 and 450. I found mine was chronoing right about 395, so it's a bit under what most websites said it would chrono at. But it is field legal at that point. I'd imagine some springs you're going to get, being A&K, kind of hit or miss quality occasionally, maybe a little more powerful. And something interesting I actually found in the box is that it said there were other options for different spring powers. This one's labeled at the M120 level, which with the elongated gearbox and that spring power, it's right about that 400 FPS mark. All right, let's start at the back of the gun and move our way forward. Full stock, inside, put a little trap door down here, is low resistance wiring. And I actually have a battery plug DAC in here. And it is wired to a mini Tamiya. You've got a fuse back there. There is no MOSFET or anything like that. It's pretty basic. Sling loop on the bottom, full polymer construction, just like any other full stock. Moving up to the body, you have a rear and front flip-up sights. I do like they include these. I really actually like these, even though I honestly never use them. A gun like this is dying for an optic. If you're using iron sights on an SR25 or a long rifle such as this, well, that's your call, but I'm surprised you're not using an optic of some kind. These do have unique serial numbers. This is number 42, so I got kind of a low number. I guess I got one of the early ones in the batch. Selector can go to full auto, which honestly, the only time I ever use full auto is either for testing the gun or to unlock the gun if it locks up for some reason. Otherwise, it's safe and semi generally. On the opposite side, you do have the hop-up adjustment. It is under the dust cover. Pull the charging lever back, and you've got about a ½ inch to adjust it. It's a little less than most M4s, but it's just your standard little dial there, just like any TM design. It is a metal hop-up chamber, thankfully, so you do get that nice touch. The rail system up front is an interrupted rail from the body, but I've never had an issue with that. I love the design of SR25 rails. It is one of my favorite things about the gun. It's a 12-inch rail. Comes with 2 handguard covers, but like I said, I have some G&G spares I have on here, so it goes all the way around where my hand would rest. The orange tip is something I had a problem with. They redesigned the outer barrel, and this is a little bit, normally your outer barrel, it's a painted on orange tip. That's the only version I've ever seen with these style guns. But this is an orange cap, and you've actually got like kind of a plug lug almost under here. So it's a bit of a different design. The strange thing is, with the orange tip attached, I kind of mutilated it a little bit. I could not get the suppressor to fit on. It just would not go. So I actually did end up having to remove the orange tip to get the suppressor to fit on the barrel. Now, I'll just state now, I've owned quite a few SR25s. I've owned 3 or 4 A&Ks. They really haven't changed much over the years, but the biggest reason I bought this particular one from Evike is they said it was the newest version. The description actually read out quick change spring guide, 8mm bearing bushings. I was really intrigued to see if A&K had upped their game and can actually come out with a new version of the SR25. I was highly disappointed, however. They have not. If you go to the Evike website and look at the gearbox shell for the SR25, the full gearbox from A&K that they sell separately, it's the same thing. 6mm bushings, standard metal, like they've always done. Low resistance wiring, I guess that's kind of a plus, but it's still a really thin gauge considering, and no quick change spring guide. The only thing they really changed is the wiring, a little bit different. They used to use a really soft coated wiring, and it ripped easily. And of course the color of the plastic. It's really about the same quality plastic, so there's not much of a difference between this version and the previous versions that have come out in the past few years. Now what really confused the heck out of me is that even on the box, it shows micro switch, 8mm bearings, a quick change spring guide. It showed all these things. So my guess is A&K is probably trying to either false market, or they just sent the wrong gun out, or I don't know, there's some blunder happening in China, whether it's intentional or not, but who knows what's going on there. Either way, Evike was kind enough to give me a small reimbursement to cover some of the cost of the gun, because it didn't have what they advertised, and even what the box advertised would really surprise me. So they were kind enough to do that, and I've been really happy with how this turned out. Ultimately, I did want the gun one way or another, whether it had 8mm bushings, 8mm bearings, 6mm bushings, or a quick change spring guide, or a standard spring guide. I wanted this gun for a DMR project, so getting a little compensation back was kind of nice on Evike's part. It allowed me to actually put some upgrades in the gun a little bit faster, and I'm ultimately happy with my purchase. I'm not going to send it back by any means, but it does kind of, it's unsettling to know that a company did that. They messed up that badly and marketed that badly on their guns, and then passed that down to the distributor in the US, and they passed that down to the customer, and it's not a good feeling. It's a complete blunder, I think. But the ultimate question, are these worth that higher $280 price tag? They used to be cheaper by a decent amount, like in the low to mid 200s, and the price tag's gone up to $280, and there's actually a version I've seen with the zombie killer skull marking or whatever, and those are like $320. Are those worth it? I don't think so. $280 is really pushing it. If you're going to buy this gun and you're a beginner, I'd say there are much better platforms to look at. If you're wanting this gun for an upgraded DMR as an upgrade platform, it's a cool platform, and I think it's a great option. But if you're going to use a stock, definitely there are better options out there. Now the gearbox, like I said earlier, it really hasn't changed a whole lot. You're still using the 20-tooth SR25 sector, the 20-tooth piston, the elongated cylinder, the elongated gearbox, and a different nozzle. So, and of course the tappet plate's a little bit different. The plastic really hasn't changed a whole lot. It is a different color. I think it might be a little harder plastic, but it's marginal. The low resistance wiring is soldered in well, but it is a very thin gauge. The tuning, I think, has improved a little bit. The shimming was still pretty not good. but the greasing was actually better. They no longer use the toothpaste green grease that I've seen in previous iterations, and they're currently using some kind of clear, almost yellow grease, and it's well distributed in the right places too, so that is a bit of a plus. But anyone looking to open up this gun, that really doesn't matter a whole lot. Ultimately, I gotta give this kind of a low grade. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. For an upgrade platform, it's fantastic. I think it's a great gun to get into. You can do a lot of work to it, and they are great to upgrade. You can get really good range and a very high speed out of them. But stock, if you're looking to just run this gun as it is without opening it, without upgrading it or anything, I'd pass on it. There are definitely better and less expensive options for you out there. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. It still has pretty good range and a reasonably good FPS out of the box, but it sounds like absolute crap. The tuning really needs to be improved out of the box. The shimming was awful. The parts internally, they definitely have improved, but I think that's the extent of it. 5 out of 10. Not bad, just because I'm gonna be using this as an upgrade platform, but anyone else, I'd pass on it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Prodigy from Kilo 23. I'll catch you next time.